For our brand new folks, how do we get on and off of the track? That sounds kind of mundane, but getting on or off the track is when you're being different than everybody else. Different is when problems happen, so we want to make sure that everybody's on the same page. So right now we're here in the red square of the pavilion. To get onto the track, go onto that second lane of asphalt that goes behind the carports, goes all the way down to the east end, turn right, and you enter onto the hot pit lane through this gate right here. We'll have a staff person just before that gate, though. They're going to stop you and want to see the wristband we put on your wrist every time you go out. They also might want to look at your helmet, your belts. So let them do their thing. Once they wave you by, head out onto the hot pit lane, blend in at the exit of turn 2. We're doing the full course configuration today, so you will ignore the 2 shortcut sections here in the middle. Track exit right here after turn 15 peels off to your left, brings you up onto the hot pit lane. Once you get onto the hot pit lane here, continue straight all the way down to the east end, turn left. Right before where you came on, that's where you turn left to get back into the cold pit. A couple of important things about exiting the track. One, we want you to signal so that anybody behind you knows that you intend to exit. Even if it's at the end of the session and everybody's exiting, we would like you to get into the muscle memory of signaling that you're going to exit the track. So between turns 12 and 13, the signal we want you to use is a closed fist straight up out the window of the car. This says, I'm exiting the track this time by. Most important thing about exiting the track. This is a view coming out of the last turn onto the front straightaway. This is a track exit road that peels up onto the hot pit lane. The white line here is a track exit commitment line. One of our big rules is you never ever cross or even touch the white line when you're exiting the track. We would like you to pretend that that line is actually a wall and you have to go one side or the other and you can't cross it. So if you're going to stay on the track and do another lap, you go to the right of the line, go up the front straightaway just like normal. If you've signaled and you're going to exit, we want you to hug the left side of the track and enter that lane without crossing or touching the line. What we don't want you to do is swing out to the right and then come back across, because if there's somebody behind you trying to set up a pass and you come across in front of them, this is the sort of thing that can happen, where the car in front swings wide, the car in back tries to pass, then the car in front decides to exit, and now we've got a collision. So we've got several videos like this from before we put the white line out there. This is the reason for the white line. We don't want anything like this to happen again. It's a very easy rule to follow, and if you don't, the consequences do have the potential to be very serious. We don't want that to happen. So it is one of the rules that we enforce very strictly. We have 3 what we call go-home rules, things that if you do them, 99.9% chance you will lose your wristband and be done for the day. The first of the 3 is if you cross the white line with even a single wheel, you are in jeopardy of losing your wristband. 1 or 2 wheels, you might get a little bit of deference. If you cross it with all 4 wheels, it's pretty much an automatic go-home. So if you signal that you're going to exit, and then you come out of that last turn and you realize that you're too far right, going too fast, whatever, you're not going to make it without crossing the line, please just do another lap. I would rather have you signal and then stay on the track versus taking the chance of exiting and crossing the line and having something like this happen. So if you're not going to make it, do another lap. Once you get off the track onto the hot pit lane, if you want to stop on the hot pit lane out here and check tires or anything like that, that's fine. Just get as far left as you can, left of the yellow line. Leave the right side for people to drive through. So if you're going to stop, get into this area over here. Please don't stop anywhere right of the yellow line. That's for people driving through. If you check things out and you want to go back out onto the track from the hot pit lane, that's fine as well. You can just get on the right side of the lane, go past all the cones down here, and it takes you right back out onto the track entry. But there is a sign in the middle of the far end of the hot pit lane that is a track entry closed sign. It says track entry closed when flashing, a bunch of strobe lights on it. If those lights are off, you can drive past the sign and re-enter the track. If those lights are on, the track entry is closed. You have to turn left and go into the cold pit. There is an identical sign over where you're getting your wristband checked. Same thing. The lights are on. Stay behind the sign. When the session starts, the lights will go out, and then you can enter the track. Everybody in the car today has to be at least 18, drivers and passengers. Unless you're signaling, keep everything you are fond of inside the vehicle. No arms up on windowsills or anything like that. We want, at a minimum, both front windows, passenger and driver side front windows have to be all the way down whenever you are out on the track. We do not allow 4-point harnesses. So if you have plans to upgrade your belts, you need to go to at least a 5-point harness, or you need to stick with the 3-point belts that came with the car. And we do not allow any intentional drifting. If the back end of the car steps out a little bit because you're on the limit of traction, that's fine. But if you're intentionally pitching it sideways, we can tell the difference, and we're going to bring you in and say, please don't do that anymore. So flags and lights, for the most part, we are going to use LED lights rather than physical flags to alert you to conditions around the track. But there is still one physical flag that you might see. But first thing, please get in the habit of looking at the corner bunkers out there. At every turn, there's a bunker. That's where the lights are. That's where the people with the flag are. That's how we communicate to you. Your half of the bargain is you actually have to look at the bunkers to know whether or not we're trying to tell you something. So as you approach each corner, get in the habit of at least glancing at the bunker so you know if we're trying to tell you something. So the one flag you might see today, this is the meatball flag. This is a vehicle-specific flag. It is a non-emergency flag. So vehicle-specific means this is for one car at a time. It's not for everybody. But if that one car happens to be you, as you approach the corner, they'll hold the flag up, they'll wave it to get your attention. And then as you go by, they will either point the flag at you or they will wave it and point at you as you go by to indicate that this is for you. So if they do point this at you, try to give the worker a quick wave or a big head nod, some sort of acknowledgement, let them know you saw the flag. And all it means is we want you to come and talk to us about something. So the next time you come by the track exit, signal, remember left of the white line, exit the track. And when you come up onto the hot pit lane, great big sign there, meatball flag, stop here, pull up left of that sign. We'll come out and chat and let you know what's going on. For everything else, there are great big LED light panels mounted at all 15 of the bunkers around the track. There's also one on a big arm out here over the start-finish line. When those lights are off, when they're dark, that's a good thing. That's equivalent to a green. Just keep doing what you're doing. We try to keep it pretty simple. There's only 5 lights that you might see today that you need to know what they mean. Those 5 lights are divided up into what we call either a local light or a full course light. So a local light is a light that only affects or controls the section of track between the light that is on and the next light or the next corner section. So you can have a part of the track be under the control of a local light while the rest of the track is green at the same time. We have 2 local lights today. They're both yellow for caution, and they will be either a solid yellow light or a flashing yellow light, depending on the severity of whatever it is that's going on ahead of you. So if you see a solid yellow light, that is the less serious of the 2 yellows. Solid yellow, we will turn on for anything that we consider to be unusual, but not likely to have any direct effect on you. Somebody who stopped off track in a safe spot, something like that. Something that we consider to be unusual, but not likely to affect you directly. So we're just kind of saying, heads up, pay a little extra special attention in the next section of the track. Because we use the solid yellow as a catch-all for anything and everything, there are no rules or restrictions on our lapping days for a solid yellow light. It's just information for you saying pay attention, but there's nothing you have to do, nothing you're not allowed to do for the solid yellow. And we will do a solid yellow all the way around the track for the first few minutes of every session this afternoon. So if you're brand new, try to get out at the very beginning of ideally this first session. Do that first lap with all the lights on to get a good feel for where they're mounted and what they look like. If you see a yellow flashing in a pattern like that, that is the more serious of the 2 yellows. This indicates there's something ahead of you that is either on the asphalt, in what we call an impact zone, or just something that we feel is more likely to have a direct effect on you or something that you might need to avoid. So for the flashing yellow, there are 2 rules we would like you to obey today. The first one, lift, slow down, make sure you have the ability to take evasive action if you need to. As far as how much to slow down, our rule is half throttle maximum, but no matter what, you should never be full throttle while you are under a flashing yellow light. The second rule, pretty typical, is no passing. If there's anybody in front of you, stay behind them, stay in line, do not overtake anybody. Even if they slow down more than you think is necessary, we want you to stay behind them unless they come to a stop, okay? And then we're not talking about there might be a car stop that's the reason for the flashing yellow, but that's fine. You can go past them. If anybody else stops, you can go past them as well. And as far as when these rules apply, they apply from the time that you pass the light that is flashing until you have gone past a light that is either green or off. As long as the flashing yellow is on, the next station will display a green. So look ahead for that green light. And it's not when you can see the green light, it's when you've gone past the green light or the light that's off. Then you can go back to full throttle and you can overtake again. Full course lights. So these are lights where if you see one of these at one station, you can know that it is course wide and it does control the entire track all at once. We have 2 full course lights. They are our police lights and the red light. So police lights, blue on the top, a little bit of red at the bottom. This just indicates that there is some reason that we want everybody to exit the track at your very next opportunity. This is an unplanned stoppage of the session. Whatever's going on out there, though, is not an emergency situation, but we just need the track cleared for some reason. Maybe we need to go clean up a bunch of dirt or something like that. So all this means, again, is at the very next opportunity, you come by the track exit, signal, exit. You can wait in the hot pit lane if you want to. You can go back to your paddock. That's up to you. We'll go do what we got to do, and we'll get you back out there as quickly as we can. Please do maintain a good pace. Hustle around. Again, not an emergency. The quicker you get off the track, the quicker we can do our thing, and then the quicker you'll be back out having fun. There's probably a flashing yellow out there somewhere for whatever it is that's causing the police lights. The flashing yellow does not negate the police lights, even if it's at the last station. Please do still exit. If something bad happens, or if we think something bad is about to happen, we will turn on a flashing red at all of the corner stations. If you see that, the first thing we want you to do is check your mirror. Make sure there isn't somebody else right behind you who's still at speed, who might not have seen the lights yet. The reason we want you to do that is because the next thing we want you to do is, as quickly as you can safely, bring the car to a stop. Just get to one side of the track or the other. Try not to block the track. Stop somewhere where you can see the next light ahead of you that's flashing red. It's pretty hard to stop somewhere where you can't see the light ahead of you, but make sure you can see the light ahead of you. I understand that if you are approaching a light at speed, just as it goes red, you're not going to get stopped safely before you pass that light, and that's fine. If you pass one flashing red before you get stopped, no problem. If you pass two or more, you're doing it wrong. Okay, stop as quickly as you can safely. We might turn the red lights off while we're dealing with whatever it is that's going on out there, or one of the lights might fail and turn itself off for some reason. Point being, if you're sitting there looking at a flashing red light and it goes dark, nothing has changed. After we resolve whatever it is that caused the red and we're ready for you to move the cars again, we will give you a positive signal by turning on either the police lights or the flashing yellow, depending on what we want to have happen. If we want everybody to come back here to the paddock, the police lights means everybody exit, right? So fire the car up, come back here, listen to the PA system, and we will let you know what's going on. Second option, preferred option, is we're just going to go right back to hot track. So if we decide to go from red to hot track, all the reds will change to a flashing yellow. So if you see that, fire the car up, get moving slowly around the track. Once the corner workers confirm to us that everybody's car has started and everybody is moving again, the flashing yellows will change to a solid green for like 5 or 10 seconds, and then we're just right back to having fun. Okay. So if you see the red, check behind you, make sure you're not going to get run into. Stop as soon as you can. Don't move until you see the police or the flashing yellows. Last light you're liable to see today is this checkered flag pattern. This one just means that the session is over as scheduled and it's time for everybody to exit. The way we do the checkered is the worker in turn one picks a car, and then as that car goes around the track, we turn this light on one at a time ahead of that car. So no matter where you are on the track when we start the checkered light procedure, everybody gets a full lap of checkers to know that that's your last lap and you need to exit the next time you come by the track exit. We talked earlier about the 3 go-home rules. The second of those 3 is if you are paying so little attention to the lights that you manage to miss all 15 of these and you keep going for a little victory lap at the end of your session, you will be done for the day. Again, this is the only way we have to talk to you. If you're not looking at them, though, you're not being safe. If you miss 15 of them in one lap, we know you're not looking. So please bring your eyes up, be situationally aware, look at the bunkers, look at the lights. As far as passing goes, again, our theme is this is not a race. No aggressive passes, no dive bombs, nothing like that is necessary today. Everybody wants to go home with a clean car and a healthy body. Point buys are not required on our open lapping days. They're greatly encouraged. Communication, courtesy is always a good thing. So talk to each other out there. If somebody comes up behind you, you want them to pass you on the left, put a hand out the window. Say, pass me on the left. If you want them to pass you on the right, hook your hand up over the roof and say, pass me on the right. So talk to each other out there. You are allowed to pass anywhere on the track if you are being pointed by. So straightaways, braking zones, corners. If somebody gives you a point by and you feel comfortable taking that pass right then, we are fine with it. Obviously, the person being passed is fine with it because they're giving you permission. So anywhere on the track with a point by, you can pass. If you are behind a car that is not giving you a point by, we would like you to limit your passing to when both things are true, that are you are on a straightaway and you are on the gas. So on a straightaway prior to lifting to go into the next turn, you need to complete your pass if you're not being given a point by. If you can't be all the way in front of that car before you lift, please lift early, follow that car through the next turn, try again on the next straightaway. Something else we say about passing, let faster cars pass. And sometimes I say that and people are like, well, duh, of course the faster cars are going to pass because they're faster. But what we mean by this is on an open day like this, there's always a very, very large disparity between the cars with the highest horsepower and the cars with the lowest horsepower. And the cars with the highest horsepower are not necessarily the fastest cars around the track. So there might be smaller, lighter cars that can corner really well, that will turn overall faster lap times, that might catch up to the car that's got 8,000 horsepower. And they don't have the horsepower to drive by them on the straightaway. So keep an eye on your mirrors. If somebody catches up to you, if a car appears in your mirror that was not there the lap before or even the corner before, that person's faster than you. They've caught you on the next straightaway. Give them a point by, lift off the throttle if necessary to have them be able to get by you. Because if you use your horsepower advantage to keep a faster car behind you on the straightaways, all you're doing is frustrating the hell out of that other driver because you're holding him up in the turns. But if you let him go by, when you get to the next corner, he'll pull away and nobody gets held up. Something else we say is if somebody's about to pass you, it is not your job to get out of their way. Your job is to be consistent, drive wherever on the track you were already planning on driving. They will go around you. And the last thing about passing is if somebody's being a jerk out there, somebody's being aggressive, we want to know about that. That's not what we're about here today. So if something happens that you feel was too aggressive, we want you to come tell us about it, but we need you to come tell us about it immediately, which means at the end of the lap that it happens on, give your signal, exit the track, stop at the meatball flag sign. If necessary, come inside where you got your wristband and say, hey, this just happened. If you pull off the track and you stop right there, all we have to do to see it for ourselves is hit rewind on all the video cameras back to the corner where it happened, and we can see it for ourselves. And if it's something we want to discuss with the other driver, now we've got one, we can identify who the other driver was, and two, we've got video to back it up. But if you wait until the end of the session or later in the day to come and tell us about it, at that point, it's just he said, she said, because we're not going to find one bad pass in all that video. So if you want us to address something, got to come tell us about it right away. Mechanical problems. If you have a problem with your car and you need to stop, obviously try to stop someplace safe. Safe basically means not on the outside of a turn. The farther, if say you're coming out of a turn and the car fails, the farther you can coast down the straightaway away from that turn before you stop, the better, so that the cars behind you can see you and realize that you're stopped as they approach. If you can coast into one of the cutoff sections, that's great as well. But we want you to stop early in the cutoff section, like right here or right here, because if you get into this cutoff and you coast all the way through and then you stop over here, you're now in the impact zone of turn 8. If somebody loses it and goes through, they're going to hit you. So just give some thought to where you're going to stop someplace safe. As far as the car goes mechanically, the main thing we don't want is any fuel leaks. Obviously, it's a fire hazard if you're leaking fuel, but also fuel is very corrosive to asphalt, so we don't want it out on the track because it causes a lot of damage. The main cause we see for fuel leaks is somebody who fills their fuel tank all the way to the brim, and then they go out and subject the car to a bunch of G-forces on the track, and it spills out either the filler neck or the vent. So just don't overfill your tank. Half a tank of fuel is more than enough to go out and do a 30-minute session, so you shouldn't need any more than that. If you've got a car that's got screw-in tow hooks, they look like this. They're in your toolkit with your spare tire. Dig that dude out and put it in the hole in the front bumper of the car before you go out onto the track. That makes it so much easier for us to recover the car. Last thing about mechanical problems. If you're having a problem, if you think your car is broken, especially if you see smoke in your mirrors, please just stop. Find a nice, safe place. Stop the car. We'll come out with the record, figure out the best way to get the car back to the paddock. Again, if you're having a problem, it's not a big deal to stop on the track. What is a big deal if you do stop on the track? And in this instance, when we say on the track, it has nothing to do with dirt versus asphalt. From the time you pass the wristband checker here until you get back to the hot pit lane here, you are considered on the track. So if you have to stop the car anywhere out here for any reason, please stay in the car. Helmet on, seatbelts tight. That is the safest place for you on the racetrack. Who can tell me the only excuse to get out of your car on a racetrack? The car is on fire. If you get out of it here and it's not on fire, what did you better do? You better set it on fire before we get there. So, yeah, we don't want you to get out of the car unless it's on fire. If you think it's on fire, by all means, get out of it. But if you get out of it and it's not on fire, that's the third big go-home rule. We will send you home, and we will probably ask you not to come back for quite a while. So, again, that's a big one for us. Please stay in the car. We will send the tow truck out on a hot track to pick up disabled vehicles. Not a lot of tracks are still doing that because they've had too many incidents or near misses or whatever. We want to try to keep the track hot for you guys as much as possible. So we will recover cars on a hot track. So if you see somebody sitting out there, expect soon you'll see the tow truck going out. You're always free to pass a moving tow truck. You don't have to stack up behind him. Just be polite. You can pass him anywhere on the track. Once the tow truck gets to the disabled vehicle, if there wasn't already a flashing yellow there will be when the tow truck arrives and there's people out of it working. So again, please respect the flashing yellows, which means half throttle maximum until you've gone past that green light. So again, we're still doing these hot tows to keep the track hot, but we've also gone to a policy where the very first time my tow truck driver calls me and says that somebody went by him full throttle while he was on the side of the track working, that's the end of the hot tows for the day. From then on, if anything happens, we'll shut everything down with the police lights, and then we'll go out and tow the vehicle. And you guys might spend a lot of time in the paddock, depending on what happens that day. So if you want the track to stay hot, just make sure you're half throttle when you pass a stopped tow truck. You're good to go. So we're here to have fun and go fast. Occasionally, we might lose control of the car and either spin or do what we call a 4-off. So we define a spin as if you spin the car out to the point that it stops, either on the asphalt or in the dirt. If the car stops, that's a spin. A 4-off, if you blow a turn and all 4 tires go off into the dirt off the asphalt, that's a 4-off. So if either of those things happens, first thing, turn the car around, do whatever you got to do to get back on track as quickly and safely as you can. And then the very next time you come by the track exit, we expect you to automatically report to the meatball flag sign. So signal, left of the white line, exit the track, come up to the meatball flag sign. Every time you spin, every time you go 4-off, we expect you to automatically come to the sign. We just want to have a quick chat, make sure you're okay, make sure the car's not hurt. We send you right back out. But you got to come see us automatically. If you forget, we will remind you. But then when you come in, you have 2 things to explain, which is why you spun and went off and why you forgot the rules. So don't wait for the meatball flag. Come in and see us automatically every time you spin or go off, please. If you spin off the track and you end up facing the wrong direction, where you need to do a 180 to keep going again, the safest way to turn around is to always turn away from the track or away from the asphalt. So what we mean by that is, say you're headed into this turn, you manage to spin out, you're facing the wrong way. Please do not turn towards the track to turn around. Always turn away from the track, get the car pointed the right direction, and then you can speed up and merge on further down. Last thing about spinning, you should have this mantra going in your head that says, if you spin, both feet in. And both feet refers to the 3-pedal cars with the clutch, which I know are going the way of the dinosaur, but it still applies. If you lose control, you're out there just spinning around at the mercy of the laws of physics. If you have a clutch, put the clutch pedal in so the motor does not stall or get spun backwards. Clutch or no, put your right foot as hard as you can on the brake pedal and keep it there until the car comes to complete stop. The idea behind this is that if you lose control, eventually the car will regain traction. We want your foot on the brake when that happens so that the car simply stops rather than starting to roll in whatever random direction it happens to be pointed. And we've got another video here that kind of shows why we say this. So the black Porsche in front, he's going to lose it going into turn 5, and he actually goes off the inside of the track about right here and regains traction. But the problem is when he regains traction, he doesn't have his foot on the brake, so the car rolls back across the track, and the white Mustang had to go 4-off to avoid him. So if this guy would have put his foot on the brake, he would have stopped off the inside of the track back here, and it would have been a lot easier for the other cars to get by. So if you spin, both feet in. Okay, so what are our big 3? Don't cross the white line to exit the track. If you're not going to make it, please do another lap instead. Don't miss all the checkered lights. You got to pay attention to the lights. Don't get out of the car on track unless it's on fire. Okay. As far as sessions go this afternoon, we are over the limit as far as driver signups to mandate doing sessions. So if you sign up for the slow group, you got the yellow wristband on. You'll be up at the top of the hour for 30 minutes. So 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and so on. If you signed up for the fast group, you will be up at the bottom of the hour. So 1:30, 2:30, 3:30, and so on.